Now I will discuss about the respiratory system. The respiratory system starts from our nose and mouth. The air enters from our nose and mouth and passes through the airways and reaches the lungs. The two components of our respiratory system are upper respiratory tract and lower respiratory tract. The upper respiratory tract include nostrils, nasal cavity, sinuses, pharynx and larynx. The lower respiratory tract include trachea, bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli. Now what are nostrils? Nostrils are external opening of the nasal cavity. Now what is nasal cavity? Nasal cavity is the inside of the nose, and nasal septum divides the nasal cavity into two cavities. What are sinuses? Sinuses are hollow cavities in the skull. Sinuses are hollow cavities in the skull that make the upper respiratory tract, that make a part of the upper respiratory tract. Now what is pharynx? Pharynx is a common pathway for both digestive and respiratory systems. Pharynx is a part of throat behind oral and nasal cavities in the head of larynx and esophagus. What are the three parts of pharynx? The three parts of pharynx are nasopharynx, oropharynx and laryngopharynx. What is larynx? Larynx is a hollow tubular structure. Larynx is a hollow tubular structure that allows air to passes through it during breathing and helps it producing sound. Larynx is also called the voice box. Larynx is located between pharynx and esophagus.
Pharynx and
Trachea.
okay.
Now what are the three parts of larynx? The upper part of the larynx is called supraglottis, which includes epiglottis. The middle part of the larynx is called glottis, which includes vocal cords, and the third part of the larynx is called subglottis. Now, what is epiglottis? Epiglottis is the leaf-shaped flap of cartilage located at the upper part of larynx. Now, what is the main function of epiglottis? The main function of epiglottis is to seal up the windpipe. Automatically during swallowing, so that it prevents food and water, so that it prevents food and drink from entering in the airways. We have already discussed about the upper respiratory tract. Now we will discuss about the lower respiratory tract. The lower respiratory tract includes trachea, bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli. Now what is trachea? Trachea is a cartilaginous tube that connects larynx to the bronchi. Trachea is also called the windpipe. What are bronchi? Bronchi are cartilaginous tubes. That begins at the end of trachea and branches as bronchioles within the lungs. Now what are bronchioles? Bronchioles are smaller. Bronchioles are non-cartilaginous smaller tubes in the lungs that branches in the bronchi. That branches from the bronchi.
Inside the lungs.
That branches from the bronchi inside the lungs. Now what is alveoli?
What are?
What are alveoli? Now, what are alveoli? Alveoli are tiny balloon shape. Alveoli are tiny balloon shape air sacs present present in the present in the
Present at the end of the
present at the end of the bronchioles, present at the end of the bronchioles, where exchange
inside the lungs.
Where exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place. Alveoli are balloon shaped air sacs present in
A tiny
tiny balloon shaped air sacs present at the end of the bronchioles inside the lungs, where exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place. What are cilia? Cilia are hair-like projections. Cilia are hair-like projections present in the trachea, bronchi, and bronchioles. But smaller bronchiole doesn't have cilia.
So this is all about the
Respiratory system. I have already discussed about the respiratory system. Now I will discuss respiration and breathing. So first I will and the difference between two. So first I will discuss about breathing. What is breathing? Breathing is a physical process of moving air. Breathing is a physical process of moving air in and out from the lungs. During breathing, we inhale oxygen and exhale out carbon dioxide. Now, what is respiration? Respiration is the biochemical process by breaking down of glucose to produce energy. This energy is used by cells. Cells to carry out cellular functions. The two types of respiration are aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. What is aerobic respiration? Aerobic respiration produce energy from glucose. Aerobic respiration produce energy from glucose in presence of oxygen, and anaerobic respiration produce energy from glucose in absence of oxygen. When we do vigorous exercise, muscle cells produce lactic acid by anaerobic respiration. A smaller quantity of lactic acid is taken up and used as fuel by mitochondria, thus provide energy. But the remaining lactic acid is built up in the muscles, which result in muscle cramp, pain, and muscles fatigue. But lactic acid build-up is temporary. Now, what is the difference between?
What are the differences between?
Now, what are the difference between breathing and respiration? The differences between breathing and respiration are: breathing is a physical process, whereas respiration is a biochemical process. Breathing takes place in the lungs, whereas respiration takes place in the cells. Breathing is a voluntary process, whereas respiration is a involuntary process.
Is an involuntary process.
During breathing, no energy is produced, whereas during respiration, energy is produced in the form of ATP. During breathing, no enzymes are used, whereas during respiration, enzymes, a large number of enzymes are used. This is all about respiration and breathing.
And the difference between the two.
And the difference between the two.
Very good.
Now I will discuss how oxygen and carbon dioxide transport takes place. First, I will discuss how oxygen gets transported. Oxygen gets transported by two methods. First, only 1.5% of oxygen, only 1.5% of oxygen gets directly dissolved into the blood. Second, remaining 98.5% of oxygen bind with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin. Near the tissues, near the tissues, oxygen gets released from oxyhemoglobin and gets absorbed into the tissues. Now, how carbon dioxide gets transported? Carbon dioxide gets transported by three methods. First, only 5% of carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide gets directly dissolved into the blood. Second, about 10% of carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide bind with globulin, globulin portion of hemoglobin and form carbaminohemoglobin Third, remaining 85% of carbon dioxide gets convert to bicarbonate ions and gets dissolved in plasma. In the lungs, bicarbonate ions again convert to
Carbon dioxide.
carbon dioxide.